Part 95. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 945. Looking at Chongying and the White Eagle camp ship girl in front of him, Qin Ji couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief and let go of what he had been worried about before. Although Chongying was a little helpless that she did not report the sea raid before, Qin Ji was not angry, but just a little worried. He was relatively reassured about Magi and Musashi. Qin Ji believed that they had thought carefully before carrying out the raid in the sea area. The only concern is the safety of other ship girls. After all, not all of Shigesakura's current ship girls have been converted into ships. There is still a small number of people who have not been converted, but have already reached the front line. But now I heard some things from the previous Shimekaze. Although there was some overall damage, high ice condition did not appear before, which made Qin Ji quite gratified. I'm really sorry to disturb your banquet, but I think I should tell you about this matter in advance so that you can make subsequent arrangements. The arbiters have now returned to the world. According to their behavior, the time for the final battle is not far away. So before that, I need you to conquer the Pacific Ocean in a short period of time and suppress the Siren's activity range in the center of the Pacific Ocean. Qin Ji looked at the people in front of him and did not hesitate, but said straight to the point. Bai Ying and Chongying's ship girls looked at each other, and both saw solemnity in each other's eyes. Yes, Commander. Now the port area will rearrange its forces and transfer the Northern Alliance to the North Pacific, and will arrange for 2 Ember ships to follow to ensure that when you encounter the Arbiter, even if you are unable to fight, you will have enough time to retreat. Qin Ji continued. My lord, will the Ember ship join our operation? Magi asked. Qin Ji shook his head. If the Ember ship joins the battle, it will increase the pressure on you during the battle, which is not conducive to our large-scale strategy. Therefore, the existence of the Ember ship is to remind you of this, and this is not it will be your guard of honor. Understood, I believe we don't need such reliance for the time being. Musashi nodded. Very good, because the Northern and Eastern Pacific battlefields are now connected, so whether you are Changasakura, White Eagle, or even the Northern Alliance that will arrive later, you must carry out strategic and tactical deployments on the basis of joint external relations. I don't want to receive reports of battle damage due to some of your internal disputes. You remember, although the camps are different, your home is the same and your purpose is the same. This is what I want to say. As for this action report, you should sort it out as soon as possible after the banquet today and deliver it to my office. Qin Ji looked at several people and said. Yes, Commander. Seeing the responses from all the ship girls, Qin Ji nodded. Then the communication is over. I won't bother you to hold a celebration party. I still have to inform other camps. But in the end, I still have to emphasize that if you have anything to do in the future, let me know. Let me tell you, I am not as inflexible as you think. As the image flickered, Qin Ji had hung up the communication and disappeared in front of everyone. Several people looked at each other, and North Carolina said softly, the commander shouldn't be angry, right? According to my observation, there shouldn't be, otherwise the commander wouldn't remind us to pay attention to unity, but would not mention anything about decision-making. Magi said, but it can be seen that the Lord is quite anxious. It seems that the situation this time it's really serious. Well, it seems that this time our actions are in line with the commander's expectations. Musashi smiled, then looked at Bunker Hill and said, and everyone in White Eagle must have understood the commander's meaning, right? This time, I'm afraid our raids in the Northern Pacific will have to be carried out together with your Eastern ones. There is absolutely no problem with this. The 58th Task Force led by New Jersey is already in the northeastern waters. They can completely carry out the strategy with us by then. Coupled with the upcoming Northern Alliance, I believe that the northern and eastern parts of the Pacific can be connected. As a first-line strategy, Bunker Hill said. Well, Logically speaking, if the Northern Alliance is sent to our side, I believe White Eagle will also send a corresponding camp, right? Who do you think it will be? Musashi asked with a smile. Now Dong Huang is in charge of the Western Pacific Ocean, and Iron Blood is in charge of the South Pacific Ocean. The most likely support is for the royal family to help Dong Huang complete the control of the Western Pacific Ocean and the Southwest Pacific Ocean. Sardinia assisted Iron Blood to complete control of the South Pacific, and the person responsible for assisting White Eagle was most likely Iris to complete control of the Eastern Pacific and the Southeast Pacific. As for our three camps, we are responsible for the control of the North Pacific and the Northeast Pacific. We are approaching the center of the Pacific like this. When our 9 camps meet, it will be time for a decisive battle. Bunker Hill said. Indeed, based on the analysis of strength and daily relationship, it is really possible for the Lord to make such a deployment, and this is also the most suitable deployment, Magi said. So should our strategy start tomorrow, or should we wait until the Northern Alliance arrives? Akagi asked from the side. I think we'll start from tomorrow. After all, the commander is using emergency communications this time, so we have to hurry up in terms of time. It will take 2 or 3 days for them to arrive. We can't stop here and wait for them, Magi said. What do you guys from White Eagle think? I agree, now that the Arbiter has come to this world, we must seize some time to control and respond to the area. Our partners in the Northern Alliance should also understand our thoughts, Bunker Hill said. Then it's decided. Let's finish the reception banquet tonight first, Musashi smiled. Haha, I think it would be better to call it a celebration banquet. After all, we can't steal your limelight. And what we are more looking forward to is the celebration banquet held in the port area after the sea area is calmed down, North Carolina smiled. Oh, I am also looking forward to such a celebration banquet. Then please invite everyone from White Eagle to take a seat with us, Musashi said. Please. At the same time, Shinji contacted several other camps. Just as Bunker Hill predicted before, what he arranged was that Dong Huang and Royal were responsible for the Western and Southwest Pacific waters, while Taixu and Sardinia were responsible. In the Southern and Southeastern Pacific waters, White Eagle and Iris are responsible for the eastern and northeastern parts. As for the Northern Alliance, Chong Sakura and White Eagle's task force, they are responsible for the northern and northwest Pacific waters. After doing this, Shinji arranged for Binjiang and Azuma to notify all major camps to attack. By the time the last group of ship girls left the port, the moon was already high in the sky. Commander, can we win? Binjiang stood beside Shinji and asked as he looked at the leaving ship girls. Yes, we must win. My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 946. Rubbing his sore eyes, Shinji couldn't help but stretch, took the still warm coffee, and took a sip. The sweet taste mixed with bitterness shook his spirit, and he couldn't help but look up at Belfast, who was sorting out documents. Before, the coffee is a bit sweet. Belfast smiled and looked at Shinji. Master, you have worked so hard now. It will not be good if you keep the original bitter taste, so be sweeter. Whether it is good for your mood or your body, it's pretty good too. Shinji couldn't help but touch his nose. Is there such a thing? Well, in fact, the sweet one is really delicious, but I just drink this to refresh myself. You don't have to work so hard. Good news is coming out frequently in the 4 areas of the Pacific Ocean. Several senior leaders can formulate future strategies based on the actual situation. Your most important thing now is to stay in the port area and make everyone feel at ease. Come down and fight better, Belfast said. Although this is indeed the case, there are some things that I can't worry about. Shinji let out a long sigh, stood up from his seat, came to the office window, and looked at the beach in the distance. There used to be a lot of destroyers playing there, but now we can't see them anymore. The port area is much deserted. Belfast walked over with a smile and stood behind Shinji gently. Isn't this the result of the master's order? All scientific research ships and everyone with combat strength have been dispatched. Now hundreds of people, there are only a few dozen people left in Minato. Shinji turned his head and shrugged. Isn't this because Ember is in the port area? Although they sent 8 people out, the ones left behind were basically the main force. With such a powerful force, even if the Arbiter comes, Minato is enough to support everyone else until they all come back for support. Moreover, after they took over the patrol, basically no mass-produced siren appeared in the sea area. In a situation like this, it would be of little use for everyone to stay in the port area. It's better to send them all out to fight, accumulate more experience, and speed up the process. And aren't Royal and Dong Huang also advancing to the vicinity of Guam? Haha, so now I have become the being that everyone envies, Belfast said with a smile. I am the master's personal maid, I am also the secretary ship, even at night, I am also me. The master is not afraid of other people. Are you jealous? Shinji rolled his eyes. You're still talking about this? Didn't you make me a useless person who can't live without you? To be honest, I haven't had any clothes to wear by myself for several years. I guess I won't even be able to do it in a few years. I can't even wear any clothes. So has it been planned from the beginning? If I become a useless person who can't live without you, then I will become like this? Absolutely not, Belfast said with a smile, but there was always a hint of pride in his smile. Shinji turned around with a smile, looked at the beach outside the window and said, Thank you, Bifa, thank you very much for always being by my side. If there are a few people in this world that I am most grateful to, you are one of them. Master? Why do you feel a little sentimental? Belfast asked. It's nothing, I just remembered what happened between us before, and suddenly I felt that time passed so fast. I am almost 30 years old. Shinji said with a smile. Even if time flies, Belfast will still be by the commander's side. Whether it is this world or another world, my heart will always be there. Although the words were still gentle, Shinji could hear the power conveyed in Belfast's words. He couldn't help but turn around and hugged her tightly. After a long time, he gradually let go. How much work is left for today? Shinji asked. If it were the current document, it would have been completed, Belfast said. Shinji smiled and said, how about being lazy today and going to the beach? As long as the master is willing, Belfast smiled. Ha, don't let others know, it's just the two of us, Shinji said, walked back to the desk, closed the file he had opened before. It doesn't matter even if someone knows about it. Many people have advised me to let the master rest more and treat it as a way to relax, Belfast said with a smile. Well, I still want to maintain my majestic image, so we sneak out quietly. Let's take the side door on the other side of the office area, which can lead directly to the beach door, Shinji said. Haha, then just listen to the master, Belfast said dotingly, his eyes full of tenderness. Shinji rarely does willful things, and with more and more people in the port area, such willful things almost never happen. But now that he does such a thing in front of him, it contains, needless to say, love and trust. Belfast is happy to see this, or in other words, she wants to have a different Shinji from what others see. In the midst of the gentle smile, Belfast suddenly saw Shinji pick up the coffee on the table and drink it in one go. Owner. Shinji couldn't help but smacked his mouth after drinking. It's so sweet. It's not good to waste it, not to mention the coffee brewed by Bifa. Really, if you like it, you can drink it at any time, Belfast said helplessly. Haha, even though I say that, I have finished every cup of tea and coffee in Belfast. Shinji was about to put the cup on the table aside when Belfast took it down. Forget it, I won't wash it. We'll talk about it when we get back. Give yourself a holiday today. For example, from now on you will no longer be my personal maid, but will serve as my wedding ship. Belfast couldn't help but smile. Okay, then I'll be willful. Darling, shall we set off? Chin-Ji smiled and took Belfast's hand. Let's go. With full smiles, the two of them gently opened the office door, and then slipped out along the path Chin-Ji had mentioned before. Not long after, Glasgow opened the door to the office and said as he walked in. Your Majesty, Commander, the Sea Area Clearing Report sent from Sardinia. Glasgow stared at the empty office for a moment. Hey, where is the commander, and where is the maid? She quickly turned around and went out, looking around, but she still didn't see Chin-Ji until she met Helena of Ember on the road. Miss Helena, have you seen the commander? I just went to his office and found that he was not there, not even the head maid, Glasgow said with some worry. Helena smiled and said, Don't worry, the commander has nothing to do. He is just too tired recently, so he went out to get some fresh air. If it's not a particularly urgent matter, don't bother him. Just leave the documents in the office. Oh, Glasgow nodded and looked at Helena doubtfully. Did Miss Helena just see the commander? Commander has always been in my eyes, he has never left. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Hwangming Muji. Chapter 947. In the conference room, there was no large conference table as expected. The place where Chin-Ji sat was more like an ordinary table in an office. There was a large space in front of him with nothing on it. This situation may seem strange, but for Chin-Ji and Belfast behind him, this is a very normal situation. Master, the time has come, Belfast reminded Chin-Ji. Yet Chin-Ji nodded, and then pressed a red button in front of his conference table. A mechanical device rose from the center of the conference room. The device immediately emitted several rays of light, and then several streams of light appeared around Chin-Ji. Among these streams of light, somewhat illusory figures gradually appeared. These figures are the top leaders of each camp. Everyone couldn't help but smile when they saw Chin-Ji. Although it was not too far away from the last time they met, the long war made them feel relaxed the moment they saw Chin-Ji. Commander is really on time. He must have arrived here early, right? George V said with a smile. Chin-Ji smiled and said, It's not like I got here early. I only came here at about the same time. After all, I still have the documents you sent me to process. You should pay more attention to rest at ordinary times. If you have nothing to do, you can go to the big bath in Sardinia to take a bath. It can relieve fatigue very well, Veneto said with a smile. Ahem, it's too luxurious to take a bath there alone. I can just stay in my room, Chin-Ji said helplessly. Hee, the southern sea area has almost been cleaned up, and it is now very close to the port area. If the commander doesn't mind, I can set off back now. I should be able to reach the port area before night. You won't be the only one by then. Human Veneto smiled. Ahem, focus on the matter in front of you. There will be plenty of time like this in the future. If you rush back now, what if you are attacked by the sirens over there? Chin-Ji said speechlessly. All right. Chin-Ji shook his head, and then looked at the others seriously. Everyone should report on the recent situation and plans of their own camp, starting with White Eagle. The offensive in the Eastern Pacific has been progressing steadily, especially now that with the help of White Eagle, we have no worries at all in terms of logistical supplies. I believe the commander has seen the battle report sent before, and now we have recaptured it. Hawaii, and turned it into our current logistics base, and we are currently cleaning up the surrounding area. As for the other advanced team, Chongying and Northern Alliance have been performing offensive missions in the Northeast Pacific. They are also progressing smoothly and have formed a fan-shaped defense chain with us. The specific plan after that is to rely on Hawaii to start a wide range of radiation, explore the unexplored sea areas deep in the Pacific Ocean, and prepare for the delayed decisive battle. The company said. IRIS is mainly responsible for the Eastern Pacific strategy carried out with the White Eagle partners. As the company said before, the progress of the strategy is going smoothly. Except for the Purifier when attacking Hawaii, there are no other encounters. Now comes the advanced Siren figure. The next plan is to rely on Hawaii and strive to form a common defense chain with the companions of Jagged Blood and Iris. Richelieu said. Then I should be next, right? Tirpitz looked at Qin-Ji and said, currently the Sardinian Empire and the Iron Blood are responsible for the strategy in the southern and southeastern Pacific. Although the strategy here is going well, because the front is too long, so the speed of advancement is slower. But this is not a difficult matter. We plan to speed up and strive to form a unified defense chain with Iris companions, and it will become faster and faster in the future. The same is true here in the Sardinian Empire. Currently, we are working with our iron-blooded partners to clean up the southern seas. We have built a common defense chain with our royal partners and will soon be able to reach the vicinity of Guam. Regarding future plans, Commander, do you really not plan to take a bath together? We and Royal are very close to the port area. Veneto laughed. Qin-Ji rolled his eyes. Is it your plan to go back to the port area and take a bath? He, the Empire thinks so too. Veneto smiled. Qin-Ji was speechless and turned to look at George V. Where is the royal family? The royal family is currently working with Dong Huang partners to conduct a strategy in the southwest and west. The current situation of the strategy is very smooth, and these commanders can also see it in the reports we conduct every day. As for the next step, the plan is to control all the sea areas including the port area, and then continue to advance into the depths of the Pacific Ocean. Then we can rely on the port area, said King George V. The same goes for Dong Huang. With the assistance of the Dong Huang camp and the Chongying camp in this world, they worked with the royal partners and the Northern Alliance partners to attack the depths of the Pacific Ocean. The previous front was too long, which caused the attack speed to be a bit slow. However, as the current strategy becomes more and more in-depth, the circle gradually becomes smaller, and the strategy speed will be faster. Afterwards, we will rely on the port area to continue our strategy in the depths of the Pacific Ocean. Yuxian said. The Northern Alliance now has complete control of the Sea of Japan. Currently, relying on the support of the Northern Alliance and Sakura, it is advancing deep into the Pacific Ocean. As for the next step, it is to continue to maintain this speed, jointly build a defensive front, and continue to move towards the Pacific Ocean. Go deep, Soviet Rosia said. The Chongsakura camp is currently responsible for the northern part of the Pacific Ocean. Now the Bering Strait is completely within our control, and the front-line supply points have been expanded from the Alaskan areas of Northern Alliance and White Eagle to Adak. As for the next step, the plan is to join forces with White Eagle and Northern Alliance to build a common front, continue to move forward, and shrink our encirclement smaller and smaller until we finally fully control the Pacific Ocean. Musashi said. Qin-Ji nodded. There is not much time left. It will be more and more difficult to advance towards the depths of the Pacific Ocean, and the enemies you encounter will become more and more powerful. Especially since Long has recently explored deeply into the Pacific Ocean, where a fortress area has now begun to be constructed. So I hope you will not be fooled by the current smoothness, but always stay vigilant. There is always calm before the storm. Understood, Commander. Well, in addition, because of our battle in the Pacific, the Atlantic Ocean is now in an extremely quiet state. Therefore, the major camps on the Atlantic coast have applied for support requests from me, and I have agreed to their support. Next, they will arrive at your location one after another, like Beiying, Donghuang, and Chongying, to assist you in the sea area strategy. You must remain humble and at the same time show our strength so that our Minato area can truly become the leader in this final battle. Qin Ji said. Clear. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Mu. Chapter 948. Walking out of the conference room, George V came face to face with Guang Huang, who seemed to be rushing over. Hey, Guang Hui. Why are you in such a hurry? This is not like your usual style, George V asked doubtfully. Guang Hui Bu took a long breath and finally recovered. Knight Commander, is your meeting over? It's over. This meeting is a short comprehensive report meeting, and it won't take too long. What's wrong with Guang Hui? Do you have something wrong? George V asked strangely. Guang Hui shook his head. It's nothing serious. I just heard you were having a connection meeting with Minato when I came back from outside, so I wanted to see how the commander is doing recently. George V couldn't help but smile. The commander is fine, he is no different from when we left, and Belfast is by his side as his personal maid. Are you still worried about her? Although I say so, I want to see his image with my own eyes. Guang Hui said slightly disappointedly. Hurry up, it's still a step too late. Haha, I know that you have the best relationship with the commander, and I can't let go of him. However, our strategy has now reached a critical stage, especially since our strategy area will soon cover the sea area of the port area. Then, in the name of supplies, let's go back to the port area and see for ourselves. But don't tell others that I said it, otherwise they will say that I neglected my official duties for personal reasons. King George V smiled. Hee, then I would like to thank the Knight Commander. If this is the case, then we have to work harder. After Guang Hui finished speaking, he performed a lady's salute and was about to turn around and leave. Wait, George V called out to Guang Hui, who was about to leave. Knight Commander, is there anything else? Guang Hui asked doubtfully. You're not going to set off again just after you come back, are you? George V asked. Yes, in order to advance the controlled sea area to the port area as soon as possible, we obviously need to work harder, Guang Hui said righteously. George V couldn't help but be speechless. She is indeed an energetic lady, but you still have to consider your teammates when thinking about yourself. Guang Hui couldn't help but said apologetically, sorry, I forgot about this. Then I will tell them and try to leave earlier. After saying that, Guang Hui left here. Only George V was left looking at Guang Hui's back helplessly. Hey, Guang Hui lost his usual ladylike temperament at all when he encountered matters related to the commander. But who isn't? Come on, the port area is just around the corner. Time flies by like a flash, and the royal strategy goes very smoothly, and it becomes even smoother as we head toward the port area. After all, there are ship girls in the port area led by several commanders of the Star Sea Fleet who clean up the sea area all day long. In addition, when the major fleets leave the port area and head to various directions in the Pacific, they will also deal with the Siren Fleet on the way. Therefore, even if there are traces of the Siren Fleet in the sea area close to the port area, it will only be a fish that slipped through the net and will not have the same strong combat effectiveness as other sea areas. On this day, night shrouded the sea. Although the cold moonlight shone on the entire sea at this time, a dark cumulonimbus cloud not far away was slowly moving towards here. It seems that not long after, the dark cumulonimbus clouds will block the bright moonlight, and a new round of storm is coming. But even so, there is still a group of ship girls cutting through the waves on the surging sea. Their speed was very fast, and before the water cut by the ship's boots fell on the sea, the group of people had already passed by in a hurry. It seems that this speed is not possible. According to the speed of that cumulonimbus cloud, we are likely to face the storm, Shengli said with some worry as he looked at the cumulonimbus cloud getting closer and closer. I'm sorry everyone, this time because of my personal reasons, I have to face the storm with you. I'm really sorry, Guang Hui said apologetically. Don't say that, Miss Guang Hui, Fiji said with a smile, We have been fighting outside for so long, and we want to return to the port area early. And although it was your suggestion, everyone agreed, so just don't blame yourself. Yes, Sister Guanghui, as long as we work harder and harder, we will definitely arrive at the port area before dawn, the unicorn said to Guanghui. Although he was still holding Yuchan in his arms, his movement speed was not at all slow. Others also spoke out, saying that Guanghui did not need to blame himself. Then thank you everyone. When the storm hits, I will use the power of light to protect everyone, so everyone must not get separated by then, Guanghui said. Well, thank you Miss Guanghui. Finally, the dark cumulonimbus clouds covered up the moon's shine, and the entire sea area became inexplicably calm. Even the waves that had just rolled became silent at this time. The calm before the storm is not just talk. There is an aura that is about to explode hidden in the air, and this aura makes people's hearts heavy. It's coming. Let's form a will formation to withstand this storm, Shengli said keenly. For a moment, everyone started to move, surrounding Guanghui as their flagship, speeding forward together, and rushed into the range of the cumulonimbus clouds. The wind roared violently, heavy rain poured down instantly, and the waves on the sea continued to surge. The power of nature was fully revealed at this moment. And on this dark sea, on this turbulent sea, a light shield slowly unfolded, covering everyone inside. The monstrous waves seemed to have calmed down inside the light shield, and the turbulent rainwater hit the light shield, making bursts of noise. Come on, everyone, Guanghui said. Well, hurry up, we'll be there soon. Yes. No matter how violent the storm was, it seemed that it could not withstand the confidence of everyone to return to Hong Kong. Although the light shield flickered on and off, and even seemed to be about to crack in the end, they still rushed out of the storm with an incomparable attitude. Although the wind and waves on the sea were still strong, and although the bright moonlight was still not visible, everyone found that a star was shining brightly in the sky. Morning star. A ship girl said in surprise. Guanghui then raised his head and looked up at the bright morning star in the sky. His merciful love leads me through the stormy waves. The Lord is like a bright morning star, giving me infinite hope. Sister Guanghui, Minato. Victory interrupted the glorious singing and pointed to the huge island not far away. Due to the obstruction of the wind and waves, no one even noticed that they had arrived very close to the port area. Well, everyone, keep up the good work. We'll be there soon. Yes. Qin Ji, who was in the bedroom, watched the storm pass, and suddenly said to Belfast beside him, Bifa, help me put on my clothes. I feel the light is back. Yes. Although he was confused, Belfast still helped Qin Ji put on his clothes. The two stepped on the slightly slippery ground in the port area after rain, and arrived at the port outside the port area. They saw a group of people jumping up from the pier. Commander. Welcome back. My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 949. The weather is always clear after a storm, and the sun is warm and shining on the earth. In the room that has been deserted for a long time, Guanghui is leaning next to Qin Ji, telling the pain of lovesickness. Originally, when each camp held a regular meeting, I wanted to go back to the camp early to see the commander. But I didn't expect that I was still a step late after rushing so quickly. When I returned to the camp, I found that the night commander had already come out. It was obvious that the regular meeting was over, so I had no choice but to give it up. With the advancement of the royal strategy, I was able to sneak back today. So commander, don't be angry. Even if you are angry, if you want to punish me, I will be punished alone. It has nothing to do with other people. Qin Ji couldn't help but smile. You said all these things. If I punish you again, wouldn't it make me look stingy? But next time, don't leave the team without permission. If you encounter an arbitration on the way back, or, What should you do if you can't deal with the siren fleet? No, we clean the sea area only when we clean up near the port area, and then come back. This area is under the control of the port area, and it is under the premise of ensuring absolute safety, Guanghui said quickly. Haha, Yu Qingji smiled helplessly, but hugged the beauty next to him tightly. By the way, why was Commander just there? Did you know that I was back? Guanghui suddenly thought of Qingji's appearance at the port before. The sky was still dark at that time, and it was not the time for Qingji to get up. Logically speaking, it was impossible for him to be there, but he happened to be there. If there is happiness, it is probably when you first return to the Minato area that you miss so much. The person you like the most can stand at the door of the Minato area and say to yourself, "Welcome back," right? Qingji smiled and said, "How should I put it? We also encountered a storm when we came back, right?" Yes, everyone was protected by my light power and turned on the shield to shuttle directly through the storm, Guanghui said. When the storm came, there was lightning and thunder, and the sound suddenly woke me up. After I woke up, I couldn't sleep, so Bifa and I sat by the window, watching the storm and chatting. Suddenly I felt a kind of soul throbbing rushing towards me from the distant seaside. It was a very friendly feeling, so I guessed that someone had come back. So I asked Belfast to help me get dressed, walked with her to the port, and found you guys back. Qingji explained. Hey! Is it so magical? Guanghui asked in surprise. Qingji smiled and held her hand. I think this should have something to do with the ship transformation. At that time, when I helped you with the ship transformation, I established a soul link with you. I don't really feel it when I'm in Minato City, but when I'm far away, I always have a vague feeling. Especially the longer two people stay together and the deeper their emotional investment, the more obvious this feeling becomes. Just like I feel you today, that clear feeling guides me to find you, so if one day you are no longer around me, I can rely on this feeling to find you. Guanghui said with a smile, I won't leave the commander. Just like I haven't seen you during this time, God knows how I will live. If I really leave the commander one day, thinking about this kind of thing will make me sad. Heartbreaking. Qingji smiled and said, yeah, just like the port area now, although the lights are bright, I always feel empty in my heart. Fortunately, Bifa is always by my side, otherwise, tisk. So I want to end this war as soon as possible so that we never have to be separated again. Yes, this war will end soon, and we will work hard, Guanghui said firmly. Yes, Qingji smiled, I also believe that this war will end soon. Well, let's rest for a while it's still dark. No, I just lie in the commander's arms, Guanghui said like a woman, or rather, the commander can rest with me. Qingji couldn't help but be speechless. Even if I rest with you now, it will be done in an hour or two, and I will still have to go to the office to process documents. This will definitely affect you, so I'd better take care of myself. Get some sleep and wait until this afternoon. When I'm fine, we'll talk then. It's okay. I'm not an ordinary human being. I need to rest after staying up late. We ship girls don't pay attention to that. And the commander has forgotten my nickname, Guanghui said with a smile. Tisk, okay, then when you fall asleep, don't blame me for waking you up, Qingji reluctantly agreed. No, because only by the commander's side can I sleep peacefully, Guanghui said quickly. Okay, okay. As Qingji spoke, he and Guanghui fell asleep together. Although they lay on the bed together, they did not fall asleep immediately. Are you tired from fighting these days? Qingji asked, leaning sideways and hugging Guanghui. I'm tired, but I'm not tired anymore. For us, fighting should be the most normal thing. And large-scale sea area strategy does not always require continuous fighting. Fight when you encounter the Siren Fleet, and fight when you don't. Resting, Guanghui said. Really? Qingji nodded, I'm afraid that you will get bored after fighting for a long time. Otherwise, when the battle line reaches the port area, I will talk to several senior officials and let everyone rest for a while. If we continue to go deeper, what do you think? I think there is absolutely no need for the commander to do this. The leaders of each camp have very good control over the ship girls in the camp. Although we usually fight a lot, we also have time to rest. For example, after fighting outside for more than 10 days, you need to return to the base to resupply, and the day or two during which you resupply is your time to rest. This period of time is completely enough for us, so this time I can't stay too long when I return to the port area. I can only stay for about 2 or 3 days at most before returning to the battlefield, otherwise others will gossip. Guang Hui said. Yes, thank you for your hard work. Now I can't fight side by side with you like before. I feel a little ashamed to say it, Qin Ji said. He, the commander is the one who controls the overall situation. No one ever expects the commander to be on the front line of the battlefield. After all, only where the commander is the place where we keep watch. We will fight hard for the peace of that place, just like now. Moreover, the commander is very busy every day. Not only does he have to deal with things in the port area, but he also has to deal with comprehensive affairs in all places. He doesn't have much leisure compared to us. Everyone knows it, so commander, don't think too much about it, because we are already one unit. Guang Hui said. Well, your words are enough, Qin Ji smiled. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Mu. Chapter 950. Although reunion is always a beautiful thing, you have to accept a short separation before the sea calms down. In the early morning of the third day after returning to the port area, the fleet led by Guang Hui left the port area and sailed towards the southwest sea. Before leaving, Guang Hui smiled and said to Qin Ji, Commander, please wait for us for a while. We will soon complete the strategy of that sea area. At that time, the base can be changed to the port area, so that every time we come back from the deep sea, you can all see the commander. Looking at the retreating figures of Guang Hui and others, Qin Ji said to himself, I am also waiting for that day to come. Half a month passed in the blink of an eye, and it was the same as expected. Dong Huang, the royal family, the Northern Alliance, and the Sardinian Empire all returned to the port area. Other camp ship girls who came to assist also stationed themselves in the public port area next to the communication tower. About 3/5 of the Pacific strategy has been completed, and the next fifth is the most difficult part. Master, I received a report from Iron Blood on the front line. In the 145C area, I encountered the agent Harvest in the Siren stronghold. He is the agent of the subordinate arbiter MaleProtagonist. After a fierce battle between the two sides, the fleet led by Seedlitz successfully defeated Harvest and the sea area was controlled. Belfast said, looking at Qin Ji. Empress, Qin Ji nodded. He first met this arbiter in the secret room of the Northern Alliance, and he also witnessed the great strength of this arbiter. Even all the legendary ships of the Sea and Embers ships that were originally combined could not keep her. And the most critical thing is not this issue, but that this should be the first time that MaleProtagonist's agent appears in the sea. Although Qin Ji's fleet had encountered agents before, most of those agents focused on balance and concealment. They are all agents of Hermit and Templarus, and there were many of them in the sea area before, so it does not rule out that the arbitration agency handed over their agents to the experimental agency for deployment. And now that MaleProtagonist's agent has appeared, this shows that Qin Ji's fleet has begun to enter the depths of the Pacific Ocean, and the time for the final confrontation is getting closer and closer. Master, the next document is. Belfast saw that Qin Ji didn't say anything and just started to prepare to read the next document. Wei Qingji raised his hand to interrupt Belfast. Before, inform all camps of this news. Our current fleet has entered the depths of the Pacific, which means it has entered the sea area controlled by the arbiters. So from now on, you must always be vigilant. Try to shorten the defense chain as much as possible. If a fleet is attacked, support can be quickly come from both sides. Belfast was stunned. Master, what you mean is that we are not far from the final battle. Qingji nodded. Maybe that's the case. Empress only appeared once in this world, and her agent had never appeared before. Now that it appears in the sea stronghold, the meaning it represents is self-evident. Although we are still far away from the real depths of the Pacific Ocean, we have entered the waters controlled by the arbiters. At this time, you must not underestimate the enemy and advance rashly. Stop the attack for a moment, and then move step by step to seize control of those sea areas bit by bit. Understood, Master. I will immediately send people to notify the major fleets, Belfast said immediately, and then turned around and went out to make arrangements. Qingji took a deep breath, looked at the documents on the table and squinted his eyes slightly. Is this moment finally approaching? If it is true as he said, maybe this period of time is over, and maybe he will leave this world. In short, wait until the war is over and go see the people you care about. Not long after Qingji issued this order, he was in the Siren Fortress located deep in the Pacific Ocean. The observer turned to look at Arbiter Empress. Their attack speed has slowed down now, but it has also become more solid than before. Empress smiled and nodded. Well, although the agent who can defeat you with the strength of his team is not as good as those original prototype ships, it can be said to have begun to have combat effectiveness. Having said this, Price turned to look at Dreamweaver, who had reached the depths of the Pacific Ocean at an unknown time. What's the next plan? At the same time, in addition to Arbiter Empress, Arbiter Strincus, Hermit, Tempalis, and an Arbiter hidden in the shadows looked at Dreamweaver at the same time. Dreamweaver did not open his eyes, as if he was still immersed in his dream. We have not reached the scheduled sea area yet, so we will act according to the original plan. If that's the case, why did we come so early? We could have waited for the final battle before transferring here, Hermit asked. Although the words were questioning, there was no questioning in her tone, just a simple inquiry. Dreamweaver said, as for the time of the final battle, Laplace's demon calculation has calculated countless results, so until the last moment, no one can clearly determine it, and can only roughly estimate a set time. Moreover, Commander Qingji is not a program we set in advance. There are many variables in him. It is precisely because of these variables that we are allowed to carry out this calculation. It is much better to come here in advance than to come here after something unexpected happens, and it was already running normally. Now this matter is the most important. Do you have any questions? No more. All the arbiters shook their heads. By the way, where is G? Isn't she here? Hermit asked. We haven't seen her for a long time since we came to the fortress. The observer said with a smile, she didn't stay here for long. It seems she didn't like the environment here, so she has left this world. But she will probably come back after a while, but she didn't say anything when she left. Where to go? The original world didn't touch her. Could it be that thing she used? Empress smiled. If she really went there, does that adult already know what happened here? Hermit said with a heavy face. This plan was approved by that adult, and he probably won't stop it, so you can rest assured, Dreamweaver said. Understood. The environment inside the fortress fell into silence again. Some people closed their eyes, seeming to be waiting for the moment when the battle froze. Some people looked at the chart on the screen with interest, seeming to be observing the progress of Qingji's fleet. But everyone knows that this final battle is already close at hand. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 951. There are more and more. Musashi looked at the report in his hand. There were several big words on the report that were very obvious. Regarding the report on the sea fortress, he couldn't help but frown and said. Tiancheng on the side nodded. Although we have anticipated this situation, it is much more difficult than we imagined. No one thought that there would be such a battle once entering the Central Sea area. The company also frowned. Have you reported this situation to the commander? Musashi asked. It has been reported. The headquarters responded with a message saying that Tai Shui also reported such information yesterday, Shentong said. Iron-blooded, Musashi nodded. It seems that something like this has also happened in the southern region. This situation is not just in our northern region. I think it's like this. The siren can't only defend one side. It must defend all aspects, all of them. Enterprise nodded, but what I'm more confused about is why they arrived when the Arbiter was clearly in the sea area. They are not attacking now and are just watching us advance. What are they planning? I'm also very confused about this question. Although our team is followed by Embers, the Arbiters are really too quiet. Do they just watch us pass through these levels and stay quietly in the sea? Among them, are we waiting for our final decisive battle? Is this really a little too abnormal, or have they been planning something that all of us have ignored? Amagi said with narrowed eyes. Musashi shook his head. I don't know, and even if we know, can we stop? We are already here. This battle is the time to eliminate the Pacific Ocean, and even the main force of the sirens in this world. There are not only high-level siren figures here, but also arbiters from other worlds. Even if there is an abyss in front of us, we have to use our own feet to measure it. This is a conspiracy. The world is watching us now, and all the forces in the world are supporting us. We cannot live up to their expectations. Otherwise, all our previous efforts and plans will be in vain. Yes, the company couldn't help but nodded. Anyway, let's wait a moment and see how the commander makes the decision. Faced with such a situation, no one dares to act rashly on their own initiative, and what happened in the Bering Strait will not happen before. Everyone is waiting for the young master of the East to make the final decision, whether to attack or retreat. Or is it suppressed like this for the time being? In the port area of Guam, in Qin Ji's office. At this time, including Qin Ji, Soviet Rosia, Yuxian, George V, and Veneto were all here. Commander, Chongying just sent a communication. They also discovered siren strongholds in the sea area. There are a lot of them. Apparently, our sea area strategy in several aspects has reached the core area of the Pacific and has also reached the sirens. Base camp, said King George V. Qin Ji nodded and looked at the chart that had shrunk to the core area of the Pacific Ocean, where there were only 5 numbered sea areas left. I understand. He raised his head. Let the frontline team withdraw all ships except for reconnaissance, conduct a short period of repair and supplies, and then wait for my order. Commander, are you prepared? Soviet Rosia asked doubtfully. Qin Ji smiled and said, we have been waiting for this day for a long time. We have reached this point and it is impossible to stop. All we can do is move forward bravely. But before that, we must first improve our strength. Improve your own strength, George V was stunned. Could it be that there are any new results in the previous research? Qin Ji nodded. Just before, Helena told me about Warspite and their modifications, as well as the breakthroughs in ship modifications, which can be implemented recently. So since we are going to have a decisive battle, we have to go all out. Taking advantage of this period of rest, we will once again upgrade the strength of our port area, and then face the final decisive battle with full energy. So the maritime legend transformation and ship decoration transformation can now be carried out, Yuxian asked in surprise. Yes, so our port area will soon add 3 new maritime legends, and the number may even be more, Qin Ji said. That's really great. Then we will have more and more reliable power to fight this war, several people said excitedly. By the way, Commander, what did Ember say about this battle? Veneto asked. Their intention is very clear. They will not take action until they meet the Arbiter. But once the Arbiter appears, they will do their best to hold him back, giving you enough time to clean up the entire sea area. Destroy their stronghold, Shinji said. If that's the case, then I'm relieved, Veneto said. At night, Shinji had just fallen asleep when he suddenly felt like he was in a trance. A layer of fog appeared around him, and he seemed to be in a familiar place again. When he reacted, a familiar-looking figure was already standing in front of him. She has long white hair, white fox ears, 9 white tails floating behind her, and is wearing a blue and white witch robe. Shinano, no, are you his Shinano? Shinji suddenly remembered and couldn't help but say. Commander Shinji, long time no see, I'm so polite, Shinano said. Long time no see. Have you finished your work? Shinji asked. We have reached the final stage. Maybe we will be able to meet in the near future, Shinano said. Meet? Shinji was stunned and immediately reacted, wait, you mean you and him are coming to this world? Yes, because this place is in another universe, I and the commander are going to go there and pick you up with your ship, girl. And what the commander means is that he also wants to see the ship that belongs to him in the end. The decisive battle, Shinano said. Is that so? Shinji nodded, then when will you come over? Do I have to wait for you? Commander Shinji can continue to carry out his will. My purpose this time is to inform you of what happened just now and to convey what I said to the commander. Commander Shinji, please let go and fight. Just leave all the aftermath work to him. There must be a battle that will convince the sirens. Shinano said. Are you convinced? Shinji's eyes were a little strange. Thinking of that person's ability, he suddenly felt that he had understood something. So he nodded, don't worry. My ship, girl, my world. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 952. Looking at the exaggerated sword in front of him, Shinji's eyelids twitched. He looked at Helena and asked, is this really a transformation prop? Helena couldn't help but smile, haha, I know what the commander is worried about, but this is indeed a transformation item, and it is a transformation item exclusive to war exhaustion. The transformation of the Legend of the Sea is different from the general transformation. The transformation of the general ship only requires drawings, while the transformation of the Legend of the Sea requires more. The commander once transformed us from ordinary ship girls into ships. When he established the soul connection, he must have felt our souls, right? Therefore, if you want to achieve fundamental qualitative changes, you must have props that are in harmony with your soul. For example, the knight's sword in front of the commander is a perfect fit for the Night Wars Pite. Santiago's transformation prop is her own microphone. It is her nature to like to sing, and it is also her wish to become a more powerful idol than Saratoga. As for Yutaki, it is a perfume with the smell of barbecue. We had thought about making kebabs or something like that before, but we were worried that Yutaki would eat it directly, so it was most appropriate to make it into a perfume. Shinji rolled his eyes, don't tell me, if you make any barbecue-flavored skewers, she will eat them directly. So are these the only modification props? No, there are also transformation tools from Anshin and Changchun, 2 jade pendants, Helena said, taking out 2 jade pendants from the other side and handing them to Shinji. Shinji took the jade pendant and saw that there was a mark of a green dragon and a mark of a white tiger engraved on it. Anshin and the others are known as the 4 King Kongs of the Republic, and are also called Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Black Tortoise, and Suzaku, so now these 2 jade pendants do not seem so out of place. Logically speaking, Anshin and the others are just elite ships. Even if they are transformed into ultra-rare ships, are the modified props a bit too special? Shinji asked. No, I believe the commander is also familiar with the person who transformed Anshan in Donghuang, right? Although their original transformation was not the same as ours, but combined with their experience and the information collected by Chongying before, this kind of transformation is the safest and it can guarantee absolute success, Helena said. Qin Ji nodded, that's good. I have another question. Is our port area capable of making the same transformation props again? Helena smiled and said, I know what the commander is thinking, but I have to apologize to you. Maybe we in the port area can still make a set of jade pendants, but if we want to make props to transform the Legend of the Sea, it will be really difficult. There are some things that cannot be done. The previous transformation props and materials related to the Legend of the Sea were actually provided by the purifier. Qin Ji opened his mouth, ahem, she provided it? That's right. In fact, she had some suggestions before, but she couldn't give out the specific details. You also know that the purifier has a carefree temperament. If you let her fight, it's okay. If you let her do some research, I can only give a general idea. So there was a period of time when progress was relatively fast, but then it slowed down, and that's why Helena explained. Indeed Qin Ji thought of the purifier's appearance and couldn't help but nodded affirmatively. Then can the transformation be carried out now? Warspite and Anshan are currently in the port area. Santiago and Yuli will have to rush back. It will probably take a few days. Okay, but before that, I would like to introduce to the commander our latest research on the modified ship-mounted equipment, Helena said, looking at a device located in the corner. That is, Qin Ji asked, equipment for transforming ship equipment? What is the principle of that? As we turned into a ship, the connection between our ship's equipment and the prototype ship has shown that our ship's equipment changes following the prototype ship, but it can also be done in reverse. And in our mental Rubik's Cube, there are also records about our ship equipment. As long as we harmoniously link the things recorded in our mental Rubik's Cube with the origin of our mental Rubik's Cube to ensure a balanced state, we can achieve a new level. Ship fitting. For example, Yorktown was the first ship of the Yorktown-class aircraft carrier, but was later sunk. However, in order to commemorate her achievements, an aircraft carrier was renamed Yorktown among the Essex-class aircraft carriers. Number. However, the Yorktown-class Yorktown and the Essex-class Yorktown actually represent the same essence, that is, the continuation of the ship name Yorktown and the continuation of her spirit. The difference is the difference in the ship's equipment. So there is relevant information about the Essex-class aircraft carrier in the Mind Cube records about York City. Helena said, but Qin Ji suddenly interrupted. In other words, just like York City and Lexington, their mental cubes already contain information about the ship equipment they currently have and the ship equipment information of the Essex class. This ship-fitting modification equipment can use this information as an adjustment, and then add information and materials to adjust the ship-fitting status to a link about the Essex-class aircraft carrier's ship-fitting, in order to achieve the growth of strength and changes in ship equipment. But since the spirit and ship names inherited by York City or Lexington have not changed, their souls will not change either. The memories of our past will not change. Qin Ji looked at Helena and asked. Commander is really amazing. I just explained a little bit, and I already understand everything today, Helena exclaimed. Qin Ji smiled and said, it's because Helena explained it very carefully before that I can draw inferences. So besides that, is there anyone else who can change? Yes, Helena nodded, but this is just a theory of ours. It has not been put into practice now, but it is still relatively possible. That is, if there was a corresponding transformation plan at that time, but it was not implemented, or if there were any changes due to some changes in the Mind Cube, it might have an impact on the ship's equipment. So do we have such a ship in the port area? Qin Ji asked. Helena nodded, yes, and there is a person who is very adaptable. Who is that person? Qin Ji asked. The iron-blooded leader, Bismarck, Helena said. Bismarck, Qin Ji was stunned for a moment. Yes, because we have the mental cube information of everyone in the port area, we can measure their adaptability through actual changes. Bismarck is a very special case. When she transforms, she must make metastate adjustments. Another Helena also said that the success rate is guaranteed to be very high. But there is also a chance of failure. If it fails, the soul will be wiped out, the mind cube will be shattered, and the whole person will cease to exist. Helena said. Qin Ji was stunned. Is this so? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Mu. Chapter 953. Returning to the office with a few modification props, I saw Belfast helping to process some port documents. This is a tacit understanding that the two have cultivated before. The affairs in Minato are relatively small now, that is, some fragmentary things. So you can let Belfast read it first, and then write down the important things in it on a note and put it in the file. As long as Qin Ji opens the file, he simply reads the note written by Belfast, and then makes a comment at the end of the file. This not only saves time, but also allows Qin Ji to have more time to do other things. For example, the trip to the Scientific Research Institute just now, if it were placed before, Helena must have come to the office to report. Seeing Qin Ji walking in, Belfast quickly stood up and said, "Master, you are back. How is the situation at the Scientific Research Institute?" Qin Ji waved his hand and said while walking towards his position, "Everything is going well. This time we may have a few more legendary ships in the sea." Belfast laughed. "Wouldn't this be better helpful for the subsequent war?" Qin Ji nodded. "That's true. By the way, how many files do you have left to process now?" "There isn't much left." "Does the master have anything else to do?" "If so, you can leave it to me at any time," Belfast said. "There's no rush now. It will be the same after you finish those documents." Qin Ji nodded. "Yes, I will finish it soon after," Belfast said. He sat down and continued to process the documents, but this time the speed was much faster than before. Qin Ji picked up the phone on the table, pressed a few times on the display screen, and then dialed. The busy signal only rang once and was quickly connected. A familiar voice came from the receiver. "Commander, Yuxian greets you." "Well, Yuxian, I'm sorry to bother you." "It's okay, and I don't mind being interrupted by the commander a few more times." "Haha, so Commander, is there something wrong?" Hearing Yuxian's answer, Qin Ji couldn't help but smile. "Yes, I would like to ask if Anshan and Changchun are in the port area." "Anshan and Changchun? They are here now. Does the commander have anything to do with them? Do you want me to let them go to the office now?" "Okay, it's best for you to come as well. It's about the transformation of Anshan and Changchun. Some of the previous problems have been overcome, and the transformation can now be carried out." "If that's the case, that's great. Commander, please wait a moment. I'll take them to the office now." "Well, see you later." "Yes." As the phone hung up, Qin Ji did not stop, but directly dialed another number. "Hey, are you a servant?" Qin Ji touched his nose and said, "It's me, Elizabeth." "Is Zhanwei here?" "Bold servant. How dare you call me by my name? How many times have I told you to call me Her Majesty the Queen?" Qin Ji rolled his eyes and looked sideways at Belfast, who was immersed in processing documents with a smile on his lips. Okay, Your Majesty the Queen, is war exhaustion here?" "Humph, that's pretty much it. Don't you know what's going on? Why don't you come to see me personally? Isn't it too rude to call me directly?" I don't want to call you directly, but I'm always with you every time I am war weary. If I don't call your office, am I looking for Yang Yang? Tell me, why are you looking for Jean Ti? Qin Ji smiled bitterly and said, let her come to my office about the transformation of the legend of the sea. What? Do you mean that war exhaustion can already be transformed into a maritime legend? Yes, and I have already obtained the transformation tools. If possible, the transformation can be completed today. What about my transformation? Until now, the leaders of several other camps have already had super rare ships. Why am I only an elite? And the one who came to Minato before, the other me. Her vagina has gotten bigger. Why can't I? Qin Ji rubbed his forehead. I also want to complete your transformation. After all, this can also improve the overall strength of the port area, but unfortunately, the research office currently does not have the data that you can transform. And all the camps don't look down on the royal family just because you are an elite level ship. On the contrary, because the performance of your ministers is particularly high for the royal family, I think there will be no problem even if they are not reformed. You are still Her Majesty the Queen to everyone in the royal family, and as for the other Elizabeth, you can regard yourself as a parallel world. Although she has mastered powerful power, she also lost the royal family she protected. I believe you understand the gains and losses. I understand. I will let Jean Xie go to your office later. But you haven't attended my tea party for a long time. I order you to make time to attend my tea party this week. We'll see about this later. Although the frontline ships have been offline for a while, I'm still a little busy here. There are a lot of things like ship modifications and ship equipment upgrades, then I'll coordinate with Bifa and try to get some time to adjust. I know, that's it. As bursts of busy tones rang from the receiver, Qin Ji couldn't help but shook his head and put the receiver on the phone helplessly. Haha, Master, don't worry, I will explain it to Her Majesty the Queen later. Belfast walked over with a smile, looked at Qin Ji and said, in addition, today's document summary about the port area has been completed. Master has read it. After that, just sign on the back and that's it? Qin Ji nodded, took the document from Belfast's hand and said, I'll trouble Belfast, but now there is one more thing that needs you to be busy with. Master, please speak. Belfast is at your service, Belfast said. Notify the communications room in the port area, call the Hawaii base, and ask Kongsakura's Yutaki, White Eagles York City, Hornet, Northampton, Harmon, and Santiago to come back to the port area, Qin Ji said. Understood. Belfast nodded. Is it about transformation and ship equipment upgrade? Well, these things must be completed within the port area, so I can only trouble them to make a trip, Qin Ji said. Understood, I'll inform you right away. Belfast saluted, then turned and left the office. Qin Ji continued to open the documents he had just received, looked at the notes compiled by Belfast, and quickly began to sign and comment on these documents. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 954. Before Belfast could come back, Yuxian brought Anshin and Changchun to Qin Ji's office. You guys sit over there and take a rest for a while. The ship that was renovated this time is also the Royal War Exhaustion. After she comes, I will almost finish processing these documents. Qin Ji looked up and came to the office. Several people immediately said with a smile. It's really troublesome, Commander, Yuxian said gently, asking Anshin and Changchun to sit on the sofa nearby, and then came to Qin Ji's desk. But when he saw the filled teacup next to Singer Qin, he couldn't help but smile. I also wanted to see if the commander was out of water and could I give him a glass of water, but it seems that Miss Belfast is indeed the most complete. There's a maid who can. Qin Ji paused for a moment and smiled, haha, doesn't this make you feel more at ease? Indeed, Yuxian said, but I'd better go make a cup of tea. After all, Miss Warspite is coming over later. Then I'll trouble you, Yuxian Qin said. It's okay, Yuxian said, walking towards the tea cabinet on the side. Not long after, Belfast returned to the office first. She was about to report to Qin when she saw Yuxian and the others, so she smiled and said hello before walking to Qin. The owner of the report has told the communications room to let them notify. And the information has just been received. They will set off immediately and are expected to return to the port area in 4 or 5 days, Belfast said. Well, I understand, thank you for your hard work, Qin smiled and said, help me entertain Yuxian and the others first. Jean Ti will come over later. After I finish processing these documents, we can start the transformation. Yes, Master, Belfast responded, and went over to greet Yuxian and the others. Not long after, Jean Huizan also came to Qin office. Elizabeth did not come with her, perhaps because of the previous phone call. Because Qin had explained it before, Belfast took him to Yuxian as soon as he entered the door. A few people chatted with smiles. Although Zhang Wei's character was a bit old-fashioned, he still had great respect for everyone in Donghuang who fought side by side. Speaking of Bifa, are we the only ones who need to undergo transformation? Zhang Xian asked while drinking tea. Didn't I remember how many others there are? Indeed, if we want to renovate, we will also have Miss Yudaki from Chongsakura, Miss San Diego from White Eagle, Miss York City, Miss Bumblebee, Miss Northampton, Miss Harmon, and Miss Langley. However, since they are currently at the base in Hawaii, the previous owner specifically notified me to go to the communications room to summon them back. But it will probably take some time until they come back, so according to the director's wishes, he wants you to carry out the transformation first. Explained Belfast. I see, I've been looking forward to this transformation, Xian Zhan said with a smile, seeing those kids in the avant-garde surpassing me one by one. Although I was very happy in my heart, I also felt a little bit unwilling. If possible, I would also like to be with you. Just like before, become the one holding the sword and protect the commander, the royal family, and Her Majesty the Queen together. While several people were chatting, Qin finally finished reviewing all today's documents. He sat up and stretched his waist, looking at a few ship girls who were chatting passionately. What are you talking about? You look so excited. Has the master finished his work? Belfast reacted first and asked quickly. Well, today's documents have been reviewed. Now I can go with you to make changes, Qin said with a smile. Speaking of commander, after the transformation of Anshan and the others, will they be able to control missiles like the missiles that Anshan and the others in Donghuang have? Zhan asked, or will they be more powerful than those missiles? With Zhan Ti's doubts, Anshan and Changchun also looked at Qin with great anticipation. After all, as a ship, no one hopes that they are not powerful. Qin smiled and said, yes, after the transformation, the two of them will have missiles, and as ships, the power of the missiles will definitely be more powerful than Donghuang Anshan and theirs. It's possible that they might transform from vanguard destroyers into battleships. After all, missiles have ultra-long range and precise attack capabilities, and have damage capabilities no less than those of artillery shells. So they will definitely become very powerful battleships by then. By the way, we now have many mass-produced missile warships. Is that what the commander said about the attack capital ship? Yuxian asked. Qin smiled and said, as for this matter, we have to wait until you master this power in the future and develop it yourself. Yes, Anshan and Changchun looked at each other and nodded repeatedly. Let's go to the warehouse together and get some transformation drawings from there. The open space there is relatively large, so the transformation will not affect other people, Qin said. Yes, Commander. After they finished speaking, they left the office building with Qin and walked toward the warehouse. With the recent presence of 4 camps in the port area, the entire environment is much more lively than when they were all sent out before. As soon as Qin Ji and his group walked out of the office, some passing ship girls gathered around them. After some people knew that it was about transformation-related matters, they waved to leave. After all, they still had their own things to do. Of course, there were some people who were fine who followed along. After all, this transformation was very special, and the most important thing was that Qin Ji was by his side. After arriving at the warehouse, they took some transformation drawings from the kitchen goddess, and everyone gathered in the square outside the warehouse. After receiving the dragon-shaped jade pendant from Belfast, Qin Ji handed it to Anshin along with the destroyer's transformation drawings. Come on, Anshin. Although this one has an extra dragon-shaped jade pendant, the transformation process is the same. Use adjust your mind cube and modification plans just like everyone else's modifications. Yes, Commander. Anshin solemnly took the things from Qin Singer, especially when she touched the dragon-shaped jade pendant. She felt a slight fluctuation in the depths of her mental Rubik's Cube. This feeling made her very excited. This was a transformation that she had been looking forward to for a long time. Now it resonated with the mental cube, which meant that this transformation would definitely be successful and she would definitely have what she had always wanted. Taking a deep breath, Anshin gradually closed his eyes under the gaze of everyone. A purple light emerged from her heart, which was the light belonging to the core of the mind. At the same time, the dragon-shaped jade pendant and transformation drawings in Anshin's hand also emitted a faint light. And as the light became more and more intense, the light at the core of Anshin's mind actually gained a hint of golden brilliance.